Yeah. All right, Kevin McCarthy, it's so great to have you with us. What do the first 100 days of the Trump administration and the new Congress look like?
Well, what's interesting, we're just going to roll out this week our new schedule. You're going to find more days in session. The first days we're going to go after is bringing back Article I powers. I mean, we've watched this executive branch in the last administration overstretch that from regulation and others. So you'll see the RAIN Acts and others. You'll see us move when it comes to securing the border.
Let's stop right there. Do you think Donald Trump is going to willingly give back some of the power that Barack Obama, you guys believe, took away from Article I?
Well, we've talked to Donald Trump about this even during the election. This country works best when it has three co-equal branches. It's not co-equal today. This past administration put 500 new regulations just in the first 6 years. So I think you want to see business growth, you want to see economic growth. People want to have three co-equal branches. Next, we'll move into securing the border. We'll do a budget for 2017, which gives us reconciliation. As you know, that gives us the ability and flexibility in the Senate to repeal Obamacare. We'll move forward also on a budget for 2018, which gives us, again, reconciliation to deal with tax reform. There's infrastructure out there. There's a lot to get done to get the economy moving again, and that's going to be our focus.
Mike.
Congressman, on infrastructure, the president-elect has talked about $1 trillion infrastructure package. How is that going to go down with certain components, certain elements of your caucus?
Well, people believe in making infrastructure happen. In my caucus, a couple of concerns they'll have. They're tired of passing an infrastructure bill that takes a decade before something gets built. So they want to see it streamlined. Secondly, how are we going to pay for all this? That's where tax reform could be helpful. There was some negotiations we had in this current Congress with Schumer and the ability to have tax reform with repatriation that allows money for infrastructure at the same time makes the economy grow and pay for it. So I think you're going to have a heavy debate on how do we make sure we pay for this, but build America in a streamlined manner and get it done quickly.
So the timeline on that, I mean, infrastructure, you said, you know, certain members of your caucus want to see something happen immediately rather than over a 10-year span. But tax reform, how quickly could that be enacted and put into practice?
Well, tax reform, you're on Article I, Section 7. All tax reform starts in the House, which means starts in Ways and Means. We didn't wait for this election to happen. In Ways and Means, Kevin Brady already rolled out a plan in a better way that simplifies, goes to 3 rates. I think that'll be a very good starting point. I don't think you'll find this happens in the first month, but I think in the first 6 months you'll see great movement on this. This is a core element, and I think when you look at the frustration in America, especially the middle class being worth less today than they were 8 years ago, growing the economy is #1, and I think this will give us some of the greatest amount of growth.
Congressman, Willie, really quickly, Phil Mattingly is reporting Mitch McConnell and flag burning, people like that pose little harm to our country, but tinkering with our First Amendment might.
Well, let me ask you that very question then, Congressman McCarthy. It's Willie Geist. Donald Trump just tweeted that flag burners, he believes, should be either jailed or stripped of their citizenship. What's your position on flag burning?
Well, in my neck of the woods, people don't burn their flags. They actually honor their flags. I don't see why someone would want to burn it. But we have a First Amendment right. But where I come from, you honor the flag. If someone wanted to show their First Amendment right, I'd be afraid for their own safety. But we'll protect our First Amendment.
Okay, so to be clear, you don't like it, as we've said, but you would believe that that's protected under the First Amendment.
That's what the court has upheld. I think the best thing we could have going for us is growing an economy. I don't see why anybody would want to burn an American flag. It's the greatest symbol of freedom, a country that was conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are equal.
Amen. Amen. So let me just ask you quickly then, there are 2 important meetings at Trump Tower today. Donald Trump will be meeting with Mitt Romney and Bob Corker. Which of those 2 guys, Congressman, would you be more likely to support for Secretary of State?
Well, I don't have a vote in that because I'm not in the Senate.
Right.
But I will tell you this. I would support the person that Donald Trump thinks he makes the best addition to the team. I think Donald Trump sitting down with Mitt Romney says a lot about Donald Trump that people haven't seen. That he's willing to look and not look at somebody just based upon whether they supported him, but what would be the best addition to get the job done. And whoever he picks, that's the right of this president, and I'd support the right for his selection, regardless of which one of those two. I know both men. I think both men are very capable. There's other people out there who are capable too. But when you're putting a complete cabinet together, you want to make sure the entire cabinet works well together.
Hey, Leader McCarthy, it's Hallie Jackson here. Do you believe that millions of people voted illegally this election?
Look, I trust this election and the results. I don't like the idea of the recount or other. I think the election is over. Now I think it's time that we move on and get our work done. That's been my focus. I'll release the calendar today, and members are going to find that they're going to be in session more days than they've been in the past because we've got a big job to do.
So to be clear, you disagree with the president-elect about the potential for widespread voter fraud this year?
Look, we have an election process. We have individuals that uphold this election and go through the process. I trust that judgment of where we go, and I want to move on, and I believe the election's over.
Kevin, do you, from what you've seen so far from Mitt Romney's selection, what's your take on Donald Trump's selection? What's your take on how this transition's going?
Well, I'm looking at who he's selecting. I mean, just today, Dr. Tom Price, I think that's a great selection, Health and Human Services, because the background of what Tom brings, I work with. I think for him sitting down with Mitt Romney, not just bringing him in one time, but having dinner with them last night, a serious consideration here. And I think Mitt Romney is up for a very serious consideration. I give Donald Trump credit. That's a little Lincoln-esque. Putting a group together, maybe people that didn't support you, not just didn't support you, but worked very hard against you, but you think have a talent that could be an addition to the team. I think American public is going to look at Donald Trump in a different manner and say that, yes, he's up for the job and he's seriously considering putting the best people in to be prepared.
House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy, thank you very much.